Hello and welcome to this video and to October's book review, where I have hit my reading goal. So I set myself a 52 books to read in the year, and at the end of this month, am at 55. So we're going to be well over the 52 by the end of the year because we've still got 2 months to go, which I wasn't sure was going to happen, what with having a baby, but I am consistently reading like 4 books a month, which probably won't get me to 52 next year, but I'm happy with how it is. I thought there might have been the slim opportunity that I would have got 5 books in, but the one I've chosen to read is chunky, and we also had a busy weekend, which you'll see coming up, which meant I didn't get a chance to read for a couple of days, so I'll probably end up finishing that book in the first couple of days of November, so you'll see that next month. Mainly this month I have done Witchy reads and dystopian YA books, so there's 4 to talk to you about, and may as well get into the first one. So the first book I read this month was A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Hawley. This is the first in this series, which I don't know what it's called, and we're following Marielle, who is a witch. She's prophesized to be like this big, really powerful witch, but she isn't living up to that expectation, so much so that her spells are so bad that she accidentally summons a demon instead of, I think it was like flour she was trying to get. So Ozroth, or Oz as he becomes known in the book, is summoned to her, and he can't leave her side unless there's like a deal for her soul, which she's not willing to give. And they end up in a fake dating situation. In the end, I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars, 4.5 stars, one of those. Thoroughly enjoyed it. However, it did take me a little bit of time to get into it, but that might be because I started reading this when everybody else was ill, so there was a bit of stress going on with that as well. I'm dealing with a poorly baby and all of that kind of stuff, so that might be why it took me a while to get into it. But once I did, I found it very enjoyable. I would continue with the series. I think the next one is something about more demons, isn't it? I didn't read the little synopsis. A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch is next. What I thought was particularly clever with this is obviously she's tying herself up with really complex plot points, but she's brought in a character that can't leave unless it's given a soul. But then how does that means that they won't be able to be together because she won't soul, so she won't, all of this kind of stuff. So the whole thing is a bit complex, and she ties herself in knots with the plots that she's written, but she does manage to come out of them really well, and in a way that is semi-believable in a land that obviously has witches and demons and all of the other creatures like that. I found that Marielle and Oz were a believable couple. I felt that it was a healthy way of their relationship growing, and that they both help each other grow as people as well, which I liked. They also had some very fun like back and forth with each other, which I always appreciate in a romance novel. I would say this is a good seasonal book, definitely one to pick up when the leaves are turning, although whenever also works, but it is set around like solstice, that kind of time. And I enjoyed it a lot, and there's a lot of good sort of descriptions of nature and stuff and that kind of thing in it as well. So I would recommend A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Hawley, and I look forward to continuing with the series. Not that I own it, but eventually I'll get to that. They're all companions anyway, so. So the next book I read was The Crown by Kiera. If you've been following along, you know for the past 5 months I have been reading one of these a month, and this is the final one in the series, and I was not expecting a lot. I went in with very low expectations, and actually I quite enjoyed it. This is probably my second favourite, so it probably goes The Selection and then The Crown, which surprised me immensely. I still don't know why they didn't just put this book and the fourth book into one, cut it down a bit so it's like 350 pages, because you could have easily done that. But because it was a smaller group of boys that she was with, you got to get to know all of them, and I found Evelyn like less irritating in this one. I don't know whether it's because there was some character growth or whatever, but she was just less irritating. Her choices made a lot more sense. She didn't come in with the I'm a different kind of girl vibe this time. So overall I enjoyed it a lot. The Selection series is a dystopian-ish series where you have to pick the Crown picks their partner through like a selection process, where it's like a competition, so there's a girl, or in this case a boy, from each of the districts competing for the hand of the crown. I liked the way it was resolved, although I don't think the epilogue actually gave anything, so they could have got rid of that. I was quite satisfied with the ending though. I'm glad that I finished the series, and as I said, thoroughly surprised by this one. I enjoyed it a lot, and that was The Crown by Kiera. I'm going pretty quickly through these books today. That's unlike me. So the next book that I read was The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandanna, and I mean it's a very close call between this and Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, but I think this might have been my favourite read of the month. It has very House of the Cerulean Sea vibes, although I think I preferred this one because of our main character. So in this we're following Mika Moon, who is a witch, hence my whole witchy theme this month. But witches don't tend to hang around together. They don't want to be found out in modern day society. But she gets called to come and essentially tutor 3 young witches to help them harness their power and to keep it under control and stuff in this very sort of secret house, before a lawyer comes in and potentially ruins everything. This is such a cozy read. Like, although there wasn't a huge amount that happens in it, it was so easy to read, and I really wanted to read it, and I just really liked the way it was written and the vibe that it was giving, that I just enjoyed it. It was really quite charming and really good for this time of year. As I mentioned, I really liked the characters in this, so Mika I really liked. I thought she was an interesting character to read from, and the found family element of it, because it's all of these sort of mismatched people coming together in this big house to help these 3 children, who also were just funny to read about, and I think I preferred those children to the ones in the Cerulean Sea as well, and hence why I preferred this book to it. A couple of sort of negatives I had about it though is that, yeah, the plot's slow. I kind of expected that though, but it also was a bit predictable from where it was going. But then the ending was pretty abrupt compared to like the nice wafty, like wavy kind of vibe that we had through it. The ending was very done, which was a bit of a whiplash moment. And then there is what I feel is an unnecessary 3rd act breakup in this book, which I don't know why we needed it, but hey ho, I'm not a big fan of 3rd act breakups anyway, so that is always my preference on these. Lastly though, there are some spells that Mika does in this, like getting rid of spiders or making her car faster, basically making her journey time a lot quicker, that would just be very helpful in everyday life. Just makes me wish sometimes that I could do magic, or at least have some power to do some stuff. As mundane as, you know, rid my house of spiders, because there's an awful lot of them here. So yeah, one of my favourite books possibly of the year. Really did enjoy it, and was quite surprised about how much I enjoyed it. I thought it would be nice and sort of cosy and a good read, but I didn't think I'd get quite as invested as I did in it. That's The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandanna. And the last book I read this month was The Grace Year by Kim Liggett. I think that's how you pronounce her name. This is a YA dystopian, hence the theme that I was on inadvertently this month. Very much in the vein of Handmaid's Tale and like Vox and those ones where women are oppressed. So in this one, when you turn 16 as a girl in the society, you are sent out into the wild for your grace year. This is to rid you of your magic, and when you come back you have already been selected for marriage and stuff, and if you're not, then you're sent to like work in the fields and factories and things like that. I was put off a little bit by the length of this. I think it's quite long for a YA dystopian, but it was actually pretty quick. I read it, it was still within the same sort of week length that I'm reading most books, even though it was slightly longer. And there are elements of this that I did enjoy, like some of the descriptions is a little bit grim, as most of these are. There is a romance in it which I liked, although I didn't really believe. It's weird, it was well written and I was invested, but I also didn't believe in it. I like that this book is a standalone and not a series, because typically this kind of thing would then go into being a trilogy or more books, but this, as far as I'm aware, is a standalone. But I have read better books of this sort of genre, this ilk. There are better ones about oppressed women in dystopian societies. I think the reason for that, as I said, is although I enjoyed what I was reading, I didn't really connect very well with anything. I was a bit irritated by the constant thing of the magic, which, let's be honest, is just sexuality and all of that kind of stuff. I wanted there to be more of a resolution to it. I don't think we really tied everything up at the end, and as I said before, like the romance and stuff I didn't particularly believe in, so it's a very middle of the road book for me. I think I gave it 3.5 stars, which is still a good rating from me, particularly as, if you know, I don't really give 5 stars out, so anything 4 and above is like great, and so 3.5 is a very good rating for me. I did enjoy the book, but I just thought there were a few too many sort of flaws to it, and I won't be keeping my copy of it. So I've flown through this book review. Maybe I should do it like this more often, and actually had a pretty decent reading month in October. Looking forward to what's to come in November. I know there's a few gifts on here that I'm planning on getting to. I typically try and read all the gifts that I get at Christmas and my birthday by the end of the year, but that's not going to happen this year. But next month I'm going to have a concerted effort just to read books that were gifted to me in those things before Christmas comes around again. So yeah, looking forward to some of those books. They're ones that I've been really looking forward to, but for some reason haven't read yet. So if you've enjoyed this one, please give it a thumbs up. If you're looking forward to finding out what I read next month, click that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!